On this week's edition of the Fatside Footy podcast, we'll recap a massive round 18 of AFL football. The season's starting to really shape up and it's getting more interesting by the week. We'll give you our games of the round from round 18, Fatside MVP votes 1 to 5, Wisdom or Waffle, Bobby's famous hot and cold, and many more. Bobby, are you ready, mate?
Ready to roll.
Yes, a big welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Fatside Footy podcast. My name is Jack, and I'm joined here every week by my good friend Bobby. Bobby, how are you, mate?
Mate, I'm excellent. Obviously, that's going to be my answer after my team put up that excellent performance on Friday night.
Yeah, look, I'm feeling a little bit different this week.
Yeah.
After Paddy's Saints walloped us on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, you and a few of the other boys suffered on the weekend. Mate, you asked me jokingly if I was the footy god last week. Well, there's a slight Bruce Almighty-ish tingling in my spidey sense because I think I might have put the Moz on round 18.
Yeah.
My looking forward to was for the umps not to ruin a game of football.
Yep, and they did just that.
I think I totally jinxed it. They're dead set useless. But look, hilarious moment of the week. Poor Scotty Thompson. He blew a piston.
Kicking square in the net.
I didn't investigate if he'd created any mini Scotlings yet, but hopefully his progeny needs are all sorted. No bloke wants a crack in the baby batter vat.
Say that again.
Wants a crack in the baby batter vat. That is nightmare stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And we learnt that from Pops Kelly back in the day as well.
You're not wrong, you're not wrong. But look, let's crack into the results. No one has so disrespectfully underrated a powerhouse such as the bookies did my Dons on Friday night since Trump in 2016.
Yeah.
You are fake news.
We strolled into R-Adelaide and snatched the 4 points from the Crows in our first interstate win of the year. In the end, it was a 21-point victory after Essendon overcame a 30-point deficit. Bit of a bipolar performance from many Bombers players. Merritt was the prime example. 9 disposals to halftime, but his third quarter was match-winning. He finished with 31, 2 goals, 3, a couple of goal assists, and 700 metres gained. Heppel was almost absent for 3 quarters, but huge in the last. Jakey Stringer is truly back to package form. That must burn you up a little bit inside, champion.
It hurts.
Freak goals, bit of burst work out of the guts, like serious strength around the contest too. Mitch Brown had 4 goals, amazingly, I don't know how. Connor McKenna, Irish two-stepped his way around the Crows too. Bit of a diddly-dee.
Diddly-dee, potatoes.
For Adelaide, the Crouch brothers were pretty huge. They combined for 68 touches and 16 clearances. Riley O'Brien was extremely dominant in the ruck. And Brodie Smith put up flashback All-Australian style numbers, 31 and 3 goals, 1. Sloaney, he had his output diminished after another instalment of Bath Time with Clarkey. He did get 20 touches, so it was a fairly respectable night still.
Yeah.
Look, this was Essendon's best win of the year, by far, and now the Crows seriously look vulnerable of falling out of the top 8. They are hanging on by a fingernail at this point.
Oh, they're done for me. They've lost me.
You've written them off already.
Yeah, they're not making finals.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm not putting a frothy on it, that's for sure.
Look, Saturday gave us Richmond. They handled Port Adelaide with ease. They did flex some premiership muscle in the process. Very much circa 2017 performance all over for the Tigers. Martin had 30 and a goal. Prestia had 30 and 1 goal, 1. And the twin forward threats of Riewoldt and Lynch, they added 6 goals, 5 and 7 contested marks. Shai Bolton, another solid outing. He's really
good.
Building that young fella. Koch was pretty reliable as ever, and Richmond really threw caution to the wind for those teams gearing up towards September. They're really staking their claim. For Port, well, there's a bit of chatter about Dersma's goal celebration. Bit of a beat-up of the year for me.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Oh, you know what? I love it.
Yeah, I didn't mind it either.
Yep.
And look, he played pretty well. He had 24 touches at 80%, and, a nice goal. Like, might as well celebrate, mate. Good on you.
Yeah. The game needs more characters, I think. So, yeah.
Look, another first year in Butters. He added 2 goals, 1. Rocky had 26, a goal and 7 clearances through the guts. But the season has pretty much slipped away from Port, or it is slipping rapidly. Facing the Giants this week, it'll be a mammoth task for them to resurrect anything out of this year. Then, 17th versus 18th. It felt definitively more lopsided than in years gone by, though. The Navy Blues really put the Suns away. Only 4 goals in the end, but at one stage, Carlton looked likely to pile on by 10 plus. They were leading by 43 midway through the third, before Gold Coast kicked 4 goals straight to maintain some semblance of dignity. They did manage to win the ruck battle, the Gold Coast Suns, Wits getting the best of Cruz. They also won the clearances, the inside 50s, but 64% disposal efficiency across the game. It's not a great stat to see post-match. The Blues were solid without being superb. Cripps could have had more than his 18. Silvani was goalless this week. And as I said, Cruz was the lesser of the two big men. But Liam the Goat Jones was fantastic. 5 big contested marks.
Yep.
Smurfer, loving being back in the middle. He had 22 and a goal. Kerno is just at home now in the middle also. Ended the day with 32 and 6 clearances. These results for the Blues must really have the supporters up and about, and why not?
Not bad, not bad.
All of a sudden, their game against Adelaide looks like a matchup with a sniff of victory around it, I reckon. But for the Suns, the punishment is essentially guaranteed each week, and there really is no sunshine to be seen. Must feel like living in Fritzl's basement right now.
Wow.
Absolutely. And, Mitch McLovin, he had a great Kransky at halftime. He, from all sources told, the chips were at a good lukewarm temperature, and the ratio between sauce and mustard has never looked better for him. So good on him.
Delicious.
All right, then Saturday, Arvo saw the Pies pull a bit of a Mac Horton. They refused to stand up when called upon.
Boy, if you don't get...
GWS ended up playing what has been dubbed a perfect quarter. They put on 50 points to 7, 3 snags to Cameron and Finlayson, plus 2 to Himmelberg, just in the first quarter alone. The orange Ferrari was at absolute full throttle after Jack the Truth Hollins literally said they were shot last week.
Blasphemous!
I am a Celtics supporter, guys, and, speaking as much truth as Paul Pierce did last season. So.
Look, to be honest, they monstered the Pies around the contest, in the air as well, and by the end, Buckley had smashed a few phones, and the frustrations boiled over a little bit on SEN this morning. He was an angry man, wasn't he, Bucks?
It was incredible listening. Yeah, toe-to-toe with Waitley. Yeah, he wasn't a happy man.
Oh, look, the stats. Well, 20 touches and 6 goals to Jeremy Cameron. Toby Green thrust into the centre. He had 27, 5 clearances, 2 goals.
Good captain's game.
Very nice captain's game, to tell you the truth. Hopper grabbed 26, 9 clearances and 17 contested from 68% time on ground. Good games from Whitfield, Williams and Taranto. And you can see why he was angry. A makeshift midfield, considering GWS's outs, and Collingwood could barely utter a squeak in the first half of the game. Look, technically they kind of won the second and third quarters, but in the end, GWS put them to the sword by 47 points, and there's not a lot of positives to take out of that game. Taylor Adams did slot back in nicely. He had 32. He did end up with 11 clearances, but it was because of Grundy's monster numbers in the ruck.
Yeah.
The tandem of Mummy and Simpson really couldn't stop that dominance. But in the end, the lack of tools down back for Collingwood really exposed their defensive deficiencies, and that's a tough one to watch for their supporters, no doubt. Then Saturday night was nearly game of the goddamn year. Yeah. The men in green got in the way. Brisbane ended up beating North by 2 goals, but the fallout has probably been a bit hard to dodge for footy fans this week.
Yep.
The absurd decision to award a free kick against Scott Thompson.
You cannot be serious!
Cost us true footy lovers a bit of a folklore classic. Instead, we got dished up a tainted anticlimax.
Yeah.
Look to the game, both teams were brilliant in patches. 19 points, the North lead at half-time, but scoreless in the third. It cost them dearly. The Lions didn't slow down. They overtook them, and they kicked the first of the fourth and grabbed a crucial buffer by about 10 points. Big last quarter from Taron Thomas gave the Roos a sniff. He had 2 goals in the fourth. Higgins, his return was pretty well received. He had 27 and a goal. Cunners had 7 clearances and a goal for himself. But Brizzy, they were better at the death, to be honest. They won almost all of the contested footy in the last 5 minutes, and they won the contested possessions overall by 30 in the end. Daniel Rich, that was a monster goal he kicked in his 200th to go along with 18 touches.
Yep.
Christensen, he pinched 3 goals, 1 for the night, and McInerney benefited from the piss-poor Lee Fisher call to kick the sealer. He ended up claiming 2 goals, 1.
Especially from a former player too. Like, surely he reads the game better than that.
Yeah,
like,
you'd
he's
hope
played
so.
the game at that level. Big O's bloody... He milked that beautifully, I thought.
Yeah, he went down a touch lightly,
Sack of
didn't he?
spuds, yeah.
Look, best on ground for me was Jared Lyons. Second straight week in a row in a Brisbane victory.
Sensational.
30 touches, 13 clearances, 2 goals, 1. Look, the Suns must be missing him more than you miss being the right age to fit in at Orange Whip, mate.
It's been tough. Yeah, it's been a tough transition to adulthood.
Look, great game. Horrible ending. But if I'm being honest, in my opinion, the best team still won.
Yes. Yeah. Fair call.
Look, while we were at the pub watching that, we got to do the dual visual feast of Freo and the Swannies. It was airing concurrently, and that was a cliffhanger of sorts in itself. Freo by a lousy point in the end, and our swan-loving Smitties, they were heads in hands, a bit of life drained from their already pale faces by the end of the night. 51-52, the scoreline in the end.
It was a car crash you just couldn't stop watching.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. That very low-skill game, hard to watch. I've seen better ball use watching Stephen Hawking juggle than what I saw. Look, a nice game from Rory Lobb. Curiously, he was one of 3 ruckmen that Ross the Boss decided to field in wet conditions.
Oh, gotta love Ross the Boss.
Lobb did have a good game. 10 hit-outs only, but 14 touches, 9 contested, 3 goals.
Yeah.
Mundy shook off some of the slow back half of the year. He had 25-11 clearances, and Hamling was a bit of a wall-down back.
Yep.
Finished with 4 contested marks, 9 intercepts. For the Swans, Lloyd racked up the rock as usual. 42 touches.
Ugh.
Leather poisoning. 8 rebound 50s as well. Reid was the most dangerous forward for Sydney. He kicked 3 goals, 1 from 3 marks inside 50. And if Papley could finish his efforts off lately in front of the pins, he might have been the game winner. 23 touches, 6 inside 50s, 1 goal, 3.
Oof. Yeah, that hurts. That really hurts.
Then we were treated to the old rivalry. It was Geelong and Hawthorn. They tangoed at the G on Sunday, and the team with the best coach won, in my opinion.
Yep.
Hawkers prevailing by 4 goals in the end. They outplayed the Catters all day and controlled the tempo and the tone of the match completely. Tim O'Brien and young Mitch Lewis, who got the NAB Rising Star nod this week.
Brilliant.
They slotted 3 apiece. McAvoy will give the Cats nightmares. That was close to his best game of the year. 44 hit-outs, 3 big contested marks.
We have really got a future star in the making with Mitch Lewis, I think.
Feels like it.
If his marking ability, just the fierceness to the contest, it's exciting. He goes hard like Jonathan Brown did in those early days. I get that feel from him. And
It does attack the ball in the air.
Yeah.
They say the same thing about your kid, Astro Norton.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see up-and-coming young gun forwards.
Really good.
Love it.
Yeah, refreshing.
Despite all those good Hawthorn performances, the man of the match for me was Liam Shields. He went to danger to just try and curtail him, and he wound up with 29 and 2 goals, 1 going back the other way. But Clarko deserves the 3 votes, if possible, in my opinion. His game plan stopped the Cats' run off half-back, and they looked scared to even use the ball at times. Danger did still manage 27-6 clearances. Duncan had 26 and 7 clearances and a goal, but the Cats' kicking cost them any chance. They were down by 18 at one point in the third, and then they managed 6 straight points in front of the sticks, and some pundits are starting to ask if the top team has been stripped down by their rivals, and it's a case of the Emperor's new clothes for Geelong now. Then Alice Springs, they hosted the Demons and the Eagles. Lovely picturesque setting.
Absolutely.
Wonderful local stadium feel. And not a bad game in the end, to be honest. The Eagles claimed glory by 13 points after Melbourne led going into the 4th. They didn't look like the 17th team in the comp, but the Eagles were very accurate in the end, kicking 14-7 to the D's 11-12. Darling carried the workload up forward with 4 contested marks and 4 goals straight. Sheed was huge, 34, 1 goal, 1 and 650 metres gained. And McGovern, the skinny one, did his usual damage down back, 4 contested marks, 7 intercept possessions. For Melbourne, Max Gawn, he walked all over Hickey. Bailey Fritsch, he was feeling it that day.
He's been good lately.
Yeah,
Really
not
has.
too bad in the back end of the year. Finished with 22 touches, 3 contested, 4 goals too. But Clayton Oliver, he was the reason Melbourne had a chance at all. 34, 20 contested, 1 snag. It was a huge performance. They might have got blown away without someone like him in the guts. A little bit of an unconvincing win from the Weagles for me.
Yep.
But take nothing away from Melbourne. Although they've slipped to 17th, that was a half-decent performance.
Yeah, and just the McGovern thing, he's rather plump himself. So, what's Mitch?
The dad bod
Obese.
McGoverns. Yeah. Last game of the round, the Saints won. So let's go to the votes.
Yep, no worries.
No. Look, jokes, obviously. The next minute or two should be titled Paddy's Revenge.
Oh, you're about to go blasphemous.
The Western rollover dogs were horrible. They got absolutely rattled. They wet the bed. The Saints were hungrier, more determined, played like a team. The Dogs looked upstairs for the top talent to win it for them.
Yep.
Too many passengers on Sunday.
Yep.
From your mob. And to be honest, St Kilda, they just killed your season, mate.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
Yeah.
The 6-goal, 5-1 first quarter was barely more palatable than St Kilda's first quarter against North, which you intimated was pathetic and labelled a rollover.
Jack has left the chat. Look, credit where credit's due. Saints absolutely smashed us. They outplayed us. They played together as a team. Brett Ratton's obviously sent them out and told them to play football, enjoy it, have fun, and they did just that. They dismantled the Bulldogs early, and they did really well. Yeah,
they moved the ball through the middle extremely well. Rowan Marshall, he ended up squashing young Timmy English, unfortunately. Hunter Clark was pretty awesome. He had 26, 2 goals, 500 metres gained.
Oh, he was brilliant.
Yeah. Billings roamed around Marvel like he owned the joint. 27 at 82%, 2 goals, 1 for him. Membry, 4 snags. And Brown had what I heard called his best game for the club ever.
Yep.
So that's impressive. Look, the Bont, he copped a little bit of a blanket job by Steele. Norton couldn't really fire up. However, Dunkley was nearly best on ground in a losing team with 38 touches, and Bailey Dale ended up kicking 5 snags. A few of them were junk time, but the game breaker for St Kilda was Jack Loney. 20 touches, 4 goals, 3.
Yep.
To go with 4 marks inside 50. The Dogs, you probably didn't pay him enough respect. And he smashed you for it. I got to rub it in your face a little bit at basketball when I saw you on Sunday night. Paddy's probably suppressing an absolute rager hearing this right now. So I've got your back, Paddy.
Yeah.
But look, that's all the results.
Can't trust anyone around here.
That leads me to ask you, Jacko, what was your game of the round and why?
My game of the round this week, Bob, is Geelong Hawthorn at the MCG on Sunday. They played at the 1:10 time slot. It's always one of those few games come along during the year that looms to be a classic of sorts. You know, good old rivalry between the Cats and the Hawks. It never seems to disappoint. They're always quite famous battles. So everyone looks forward to tuning in and seeing what it's made of. Even when the Cats are on top of the ladder and Hawks are fighting it out in the middle part of the ladder, you just really never know what both teams are going to bring. So, this Sunday was no different, and Cats needed to respond, and my goodness, they did not. They did the absolute opposite. They rolled over again. Yeah, top of the table, Cats have been battling. Well, since the bye, they've lost 3 out of the last 5 games, and the Hawks were looking for their 3rd straight win. They did just that. They come out on top, 24 points better than the Cats, the flat Cats, I must say. Alistair Clarkson was an absolute genius as usual in that coach's box, and his Hawks were all over the Cats from the start, beating them for pace and using the corridor to attack throughout most of the game. The Cats gained momentum during parts of the game, but at different stages, but throughout the afternoon it looked like they were coming, but they absolutely butchered the football. It was just behind after behind after behind, and some of these behinds were 20, 30 metres out in front of goal. Like, it was really bad. Look, it just wasn't Geelong's day. I can't gauge where they're at the moment.
The 2 wins have been at home.
Yeah.
So they haven't won away for, since the bye. It's 6 weeks now.
And they lost against the unpredictable Port Power and the Bulldogs.
Yep.
Who just got rolled over by the Saints. It was a bittersweet day for Hawthorn. It was Liam Shields' 200th game, and he deserves every bit of credit. One of the more underrated players in the comp. Yeah, he's a 3-time premiership star, played his 200th game, and has been an integral part of that club for years. Should be the captain, in my opinion. But when I say bittersweet, they lose youngster Jarman Impey for 12 months. He's torn his ACL. It was really sad. He's been performing really well this season on a consistent level, and he's brought heaps to that team. And it was a real shame. You could see the emotion on his face. He knew it straight away. He knew it
cruel
wasn't good.
ACL too. He wasn't even twisting and turning. He was just trying to land properly.
Yeah. Oh, it was a shocker. Yeah, it's really upsetting for him. And all the best to Jarman Impey. Bobby, this leads me to ask you, what's wrong with the Cats at the moment? Is it too hard? We've spoken about this before. Is it too hard to maintain that form at the top of the ladder for the entire season? Are they running out of legs, or is this just a slump, a mid-season slump? Do you see them coming back? And are they as good as what we truly believe they are?
Well, it was interesting. I think maybe a month ago when they were right up the top, looked almost unbeatable. When people were talking about who the premiership threats are, the Cats were not at the top of everyone's list. So I think a lot of people haven't bought into the fact that they're unbeatable.
Yeah.
I think they looked very gettable. And even though we tipped incorrectly in the Hawthorn game, we said it's hard not to tip them by 30 points. But has there been a week where you've tipped them to win by 80? No. Nah. So they're not that dominant team. To tell you the truth, I don't know. I think obviously they're getting tired. Every team has a form slump in the season at some point.
Yep.
Before they get the momentum back up. Hopefully for their supporters, it only lasts for 2 or 3 weeks, but the mechanisms to the drop-off, I haven't really delved that deeply yet.
Yeah. And look, Liam Shields, as you mentioned in the review of the round, he was best on ground. He had 29 disposals, 2 goals, 1, running at 72%, 13 contested possessions, and just dominated around the clearances. Jaeger O'Meara was really good, 27 disposals. And the Warpedo, just keeps getting better and better, this kid. And Mitch Lewis, a well-deserved Rising Star non-finally as well. So, that was my game of the round, Bobby.
Look, like I said in the opening, we nearly got a game of the year, so I have to give it the treatment. It's Brisbane versus North. Couple of talking points, dot points I've got that I'm going to run through. Look, Brisbane are legit.
Yeah.
They're very legit. That was a mature, tough physically and mentally, a mature and tough win.
Yep.
Say what you want about the free kick. However, the last 10 minutes, now correct me if I'm wrong, I heard this and I jotted it down, so I hope I got it accurately. The last 10 minutes, Lyons, Zorko, and Neil all got multiple contested possessions each. Cunners, Higgins, and Simpkin got none. So when it came down to the crunch in the fourth, the North big guns couldn't win the contested footy, and Brisbane could. And you and I had said after the match, it's unfortunate that happened, but I didn't see North rebounding out of their D50 and going on to win that game. I was anticipating Brisbane to keep bombing it back in. North are still showing something though, despite it obviously is season over in terms of finals for them now. Definitely showing something. And some of their kids are really impressing me. We gave them a little bit of a treatment earlier in the year. I questioned their list and stuff like that. But
we went rather ham on them at one stage.
Well, the players that we targeted, I think, were fair.
Yeah.
To be quite honest. But because we didn't even have a look at guys like Larkey or Taron Thomas.
Yeah.
Larkey kicked 2 goals in the first, set the tone. For North to lead that quarter against a top 4 team, essentially, that's a very important contribution. Thomas, 2 goals in the last to keep them in it. So their kids bookended a very, very solid performance. They should be really proud of that. Goldstein responded after having his colours lowered against Zach Clark. He won the ruck battle for the day, and Steph Martin is absolutely no slouch. So very well done from Goldstein. What I'm going to take away from it for Brisbane, McCluggage, a jet.
Yep.
He provides really good list balance along with the rest of the Brisbane kids. Answorth, he was almost eligible probably to get a Brownlow vote in that game, to be honest. He was fantastic, I thought. They've got the right mix of great kids, great 50 gamers, and then good vets. Like Christensen did get 3 goals. Might be one of his better sneaky goal performances of the year. Hodge was still pretty good. Mitch Robinson is pretty good. They're getting a lot out of these veterans. And then the emerging talent, Lyons, Lockie Neal for Brownlow contention, Dane Zorko holding some consistent form. They are seriously the real deal. Brisbane, there's no doubting it right now. Can they win when it comes to the big dance in the last day in September? I don't know. It
remains
but they can get there.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
2 more points. Scotty Thompson.
Yep.
Known as a North hard nut. Bit of a lack of walnut-like structural integrity, though. Wasn't that hard a nut. Bit more of a pistachio-type casing. It's not quite tough enough for the to be in the trenches with pistachio casing, poor fella. But, no, last point. I just want to... My hat's off to North supporters.
Yeah.
We were sitting there with a couple of them, and some that are probably pretty passionate about their club, to be honest with you. They have showed some class. In what was clearly a robbery, that decision. We listened to a lot of talk back at the Fatside, and North supporters have been pretty admirable, in my opinion. I think they've been fantastic.
Considering what they can be like, what history tells us.
Well, shout out to Stewie in particular.
Yeah.
At the pub, if he hulked out, full berserker style, and proceeded to Barry Hall his way through a few of those lad-bashing wankers that were all over the joint, I would have formed a guard of honour when he returned back to the table.
Yeah.
Good composure on a tough night, and I think North should take nothing away from that loss that is negative. I think there's a lot for their supporters to continue to look forward to. And I don't think any more will tune out just because it's season over. I think they'll be tuning in every single week to see what their team can dish up.
Absolutely. And hats off to Reece Shaw. His press conference was fantastic also. He made it known that he was unhappy. He was frustrated. But he recognises that that's the game. It happens. Move on. And he's building a really good case. That fits into where you say, people are going to be tuning in. They want to see what he's made of come season's end. Yeah,
no negatives on the night. The worst thing was probably you squirting dead horse all over a Palmer. It's childish and it's disgusting. All right, so that's our games of the round. Let's rip into the Fatside MVP votes.
Get around him! Get around him!
Why don't you kick it off for us, Jackie boy? Who's your first vote going to?
Yeah, it goes to me. Tomato sauce on a Parma is delicious, and if you haven't tried it, guys, make sure
Ain't nobody
you try
got time for that.
Look, my one vote, he probably deserves more, but my one vote goes to Hawthorn's Liam Shields. 29 disposals at 72%, 9 clearances, 2 goals, 8 tackles. He was fantastic. Led by example on his 200th, and congratulations to him. My 2 votes, he would have probably got 4 or 5 votes if they'd actually won the game. I can't look past Collingwood's big man, Brodie Grundy. 31 disposals at 65%, 10 clearances, 9 tackles, 48 hitouts, and a goal. He is a ruckman. They're midfielders, small midfielders numbers.
Yeah.
That is disgustingly good. 2 votes, probably. It feels wrong, but that's what I'm giving him this week. My 3 votes goes to your boy, Zach Merritt. A lot of merit to his game on a Friday night.
Oh, zing.
Now, look, as you touched on, he was pretty quiet in that first half, but I'm giving him 3 votes because after half-time, he went, nah, this is it. Follow me, boys. Bang. That was inspirational football, that second half, to get your boys over the line. 31 disposals at 61%, 2 goals, 700 metres gained, and he was just a bit of everywhere, and he was leading from the front. So, yeah, fantastic performance from your boy. My 4 votes goes to Greater Western Sydney's Jeremy Cameron. Fantastic performance, dominant against the underdone Pies. The Collie Wobbles. They are the Collie Wobbles at the minute, Bob. They really are. 20 disposals at 75%, 6 goals straight, 8 inside 50s, and he was awesome. I really enjoyed his game. My 5 votes, and he deserves all 5 of these votes because I gave him 3 last week, I think, but I'm going to give him 5 this week. Jared Lyons.
Mama, there goes that man.
Unbelievable. 30 disposals, 23 contested. That is beast football at 70% efficiency. 2 snags, 13 clearances, 10 stoppage clearances, and he was just all over the joint. He was fantastic. He was delisted by the worst team in the competition. That's hilarious. Yeah, fantastic Jared Lyons, and real key, integral part of the emerging real deal Brisbane Lions. So that's awesome. But I do have notable mentions that they were in losing sides, but they were fantastic performances that can't go unnoticed. Josh Dunkley, 38 disposals again.
Oh, yeah, very nice.
Yeah, but Jake Lloyd for Sydney.
Oh, yeah.
42 disposals. Serious case of leather poisoning. 79% efficiency.
Mate, the 2 Sydney boys that we were sitting with at the pub, I said, what chance is he for your best and fairest? They didn't rate him all that highly, did they? And then he went out and got 42 bloody touches.
I know. They picked Dane Goalpost Rampy instead.
Amazing.
You cannot be serious.
Anyway, they're my 5 votes, Bob. Hit me with yours, mate.
Alrighty, well, my 1 vote goes to Brodie Smith. 31 touches at 77%. Clearly the Crows' best player for me. 600 metres gained. The mix of goals was classy. They were all different. One was a snap in tight space, a running into goal, classy finish. Had they won Adelaide, it would have been total game breaker stuff from him. I thought he was back to all-Australian form. He was everywhere in 2 different jumpers, mind you, or 2 different numbers on the night, amazingly.
Yeah, Richie Douglas played well, didn't he?
Best half he's ever had. So yeah, I'm going to give 1 vote to Brodie Smith. My 2 votes, it goes to Liam Shields. 29, 2 goals, 1, like you said, 13 contested. Like you said earlier, he was mentioned in the captaincy talk at Hawthorn at one point in his career. So he must be highly rated. I'm sure he's a leader. Definitely a key cog. If they slip into finals, he's going to be a vital part of that team.
He's not a grub like Pinch Stratton.
My 3 votes, it goes to Brodie Grundy. So, I mean, I was going to say exactly what you said. I was going to read out all the stats without telling anyone the hitouts. 31, 22 contested, 9 tackles, the clearances, and then say, but he's a ruckman. And he also got 48 hitouts. He also won 5 free kicks.
Yep.
And didn't give away any. A total dominance.
Yeah.
I say it about every 2 or 3 weeks. He's a Brownlow Smoky for me. Has been for most of the year. Can't understand why he's not top 3 or 4 in the betting, but it's to be decided by others, I suppose. 4 votes, it goes to my boy, Zach Merritt. Second half was game-breaking, but it's his 3rd quarter. I'm probably being biased, but I don't really give a stuff. That's one of the best quarters I've seen of the year.
Yeah.
Single-handedly, to turn your form around mid-game that much and then have that much influence on how the second half of a game is played single-handedly. That last scoop up off the deck,
Yeah.
burst, and a 60-metre goal. Degree of difficulty is over a 9. And he finished it off. So he shows how much of a class act he is. And I just jizzed in my pants remembering it right then and there. He had 600 metres gained in the second half.
Bob.
I've had a lot of oysters this week.
Filthy animal.
Yeah, so Zachy Merritt, my 5 votes, same as you, it goes to Jared Lyons.
Mama, there goes that man.
Like I said earlier, he was best on ground for me, and he was there when it mattered. When I talked about the contested possessions in the last 10 minutes, he was all over the shop, ready to tear that game apart at the end. The 23 contested, my lord.
Yeah.
Now, he also got 4 inside 50s and 3 rebound 50s. So it tells me he's a two-way player.
Yeah.
Not selfish, ready to do the team thing. And he has overshadowed what many people think is the Brownlow favourite. He has overshadowed him 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
He seems tougher, in better form.
Yeah.
And he seems more damaging around goals.
Yeah.
So a well-deserved 5 votes
Yep.
for Jared Lyons.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, definitely is a two-way player. I believe he spent 54% in the defensive half, 46 in the offensive. That's what you want out of a midfield. That's fantastic.
All right, let's just have a quick glance at the leaderboard. Brodie Grundy, with the votes that he's taken this week, he has jumped clear to the front.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, people, this is not Brownlow votes, so they don't get 3, 2, 1 per game. So he is leading the way for the total amount of best performances of the week. Year to date, he's up on 32. Next best is Paddy Cripps on 26. But the big news, Jared Lyons has moved all the way up to 17 votes in the last 2 weeks.
Wow. That's amazing.
So a big round of applause to Jared Lyons. It just shows that this is anyone's race.
Alrighty, well that was the Fatside MVP votes. And guess what, guys? It's time for Bobby's famous Hot and Cold.
Alrighty, every week I throw up a few names at Jack for players who've been firing and those who've been chilling. Last week, for my running hot, I gave you Nick Newman. I wanted 26 touches, 7 rebound 50s and 600 metres gained in what should have been a bit of a cakewalk against the Suns. You said, yeah, sure, why not? 18 touches, 1 rebound 50, probably because it never went in there, and 290 metres gained. That's a froth champion.
Hello, Newman.
The other one was Jack Crisp. He needed to hit his season averages, which was 26 touches at 75%, 7 intercept possessions, 6 marks, 360 metres gained. You said yes, probably because you thought they'd put up a bit more of a fight than that. He had 29 touches at 55%, 5 intercepts, 5 marks, 390 metres gained. It's close in the end, but that will cost you a froth.
I'm gonna go smash me piggy bank in a minute, I reckon. This is getting out of hand.
All right, for my running hot this week.
He's heating up. He's on fire.
It's Toby Green, the GWS captain. Undefeated GWS captain. Look,
He's a captain.
all right, look, the last 2 weeks,
Grub. Sorry, Bob. Last 2 weeks.
he's averaged 30 and a half touches, 2 goals, 6 clearances and 5 tackles. Now that's going to swamp his year to date because he's been pushed up through the guts with their outs. Year to date averages are 18 and a half touches, 1.5 goals, 2.3 clearances, 2.2 tackles. So he's coming close to doubling some of those stats. He should be up around the middle again this week, obviously. So can he get 28 touches, 2 goals, 5 clearances versus Port?
Yes. Yeah.
Done. We'll lock that in. All right. My next running hot for this week.
He's heating up. He's on fire.
It's Tom Lynch. Now, I had Tom Lynch my running cold at
Yes.
one point this year. However, he's improved. Before the bye, he averaged 2 goals, 1, under 1 inside 50 a game, and 4.3 contested possessions. Since the bye, he's kicked 3 goals every week,
Yeah.
averaging 2.5 inside 50s and 9 contested possessions. So double his inside 50 count and double his contested. I want to know, will he punish the Pies? 3 goals, 2 inside 50s, 8 contested.
Yes. Yeah, I think he will, definitely. And I must add, he's clunking everything. He's taking really good marks. He looks like the player we've all expected him to become. And it's really exciting for Richmond. Not so exciting for all of us because it makes Richmond better. But look, he's really starting to prove his worth. And look, I think he's got a bag or two in him come season's end, and really make a late run for that Coleman medal. I think
he's on 40, so he's a fair way behind.
But if you're being optimistic here, and coming up against some weaker opposition, he could have really big days out if he kicks straight on the day. So look, I'm not discounting him at all. The form he's in. So yeah. Hats off to him.
Good call. All right, now for the fellas who I had running cold last week, I gave you Clayton Oliver. Now, I set the bar pretty high, to be honest. It was only 28 disposals I was after, 15 contested, but I asked you for 10 clearances. You said a firm no. He had 34, 20 contested, 10 clearances. No, I'm kidding. He actually only had 9 clearances. So, you prick, but that's minus a froth, but I nearly
good. 44 froths to 43. You're guilty.
No, that minus puts you on 11. We've got the last running cold from last week, which was Brandon Matera. Now, he was hot early in the year.
Yep.
Gone a little bit cold. I wanted 12 touches and 2 goals. That was all. You said absolutely not. 14, 1 goal, 1. So near enough, but well done, mate. That's minus a froth as well. So you broke even again this week. You're still on 10 year to date. But these are my players who are running cold this week.
You're as cold as ice.
My first one is Taylor Walker. Shouldn't be much of a surprise. His name's out there in the media. Yep. He's been called out in the street, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks he should be dropped if he wasn't the captain.
Yep.
Kane Corns has probably got this one right. Smug face this week. He'll be loving this media treatment of Taylor Walker. Look, averaging 1.7 goals and 1.3 contested marks this year. I'll break that down for you. It's his lowest goal average since 2009 and his lowest contested marking average since 2014. He's had 1 4-goal haul in round 6, which I think was against the Saints. He's had 4 hauls of 3 goals. However, 2 of those are against the Suns.
Should be kicking 10 against the Suns if he's meant to be that good.
So, he's got a legitimate opponent and the pressure is mounting. I want to know, can he kick 2 goals and take 2 contested marks versus GWS this week?
Yes, I think he can. I think he'll respond.
Interesting.
I think he'll respond. I reckon he'll have his chest popped. He'll be angry. And I think when he plays angry, he plays well. So why not? Why not? Yes. Yeah.
All right, we'll lock that in.
And the thing with Taylor, isn't it cute? Bruce McAvaney was at the forefront of this talk 5-6 years ago, touting him as the next Carey. What a laughable comment.
Oh, he's not fit to piss at the same urinal. No way.
Nope.
No.
But isn't it funny that 5-6 years ago he was being touted like that, and he just looks like another Atola Stewart Cramery.
Jeez, that's rough.
Harsh.
All right, my next player running cold this week.
You're as cold as ice.
It's Will Hoskin Eliot. He is an important piece to Collingwood, and he's someone who gets a game every week. He was fit to come back in round 6, so from then until the bye in round 13, he averaged 6.7 marks a game, nearly 2 marks inside 50, and 1.3 goals. Since the bye, it's dropped to 5.2 marks, 1 mark inside 50, and 0.6 goals per game. His disposal and contested possession are pretty much the same, and his tackling has slightly improved. But I watched him on the weekend, and he wasn't really anywhere near it, to tell you the truth. They really need some additional scoring to come from somewhere, so they'd be desperate for him to step up. Do you think he can kick 2 goals versus Richmond?
Nope, absolutely not.
Okay.
Plain and simple, mate.
I've got that line wrong.
Nope.
All right. Well, that's it for my hot and cold, Jackie boy. Now it's time for the segment that you froth over in your sleep. It's time for Wisdom or Waffle.
You cannot be serious!
I am smart. S-M-R-T.
All right, mate, I'll kick us off. This one is from me. Don't know if you saw the Port Richmond game on the weekend, but Razor Ray, a.k.a. Tyrion Lannister, he gave away the worst 50-metre penalty when he penalised Westhoff for spoiling the ball over the boundary line. Wisdom or waffle?
Wisdom. It is the worst 50-metre penalty I've ever seen. Yeah, absolutely. I was watching it, and I punched my thigh harder than Barry Hall punched Brent Staker. It was, man, I wasn't happy. And I don't even like Port. But I like Westhoff. And he was robbed, mate. And they got a goal out of it, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, he was just trying trying to get the last touch before the...
Well, you saw it. How much was it over by?
He was arguably on the line, man.
Well, arguably the ball hadn't crossed all the way over, but even if it had, an inch?
Yeah,
maybe?
an inch, disgusting call.
Yeah, maybe...
Ludicrous.
At best, a couple of inches. No, but honestly, Razor over-officiating again.
Yeah, and he buddied him as well, which I didn't like either.
Yeah.
Listen here, buddy. No. You're not bigger than the game, Razor. Know your place, mate. But anyway, moving on. I've got one for you, and this is from Alistair Clarkson. Brett Ratton has been ready to coach since he was unfairly sacked by Carlton. That sacking shouldn't have happened. Wisdom or waffle?
Oh, wisdom on both fronts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't have happened. And he could have carried on coaching Carlton.
Yeah.
He would have taken them to finals. Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, but he would have carried on the next year.
Yep.
You know, like Mick Malthouse got them there. So, they got sucked in.
Yeah.
By the lure of getting what appeared to be...
Seduced by the big name.
An established premiership coach. You know, you can pick him up.
Yeah.
You can just improve slightly. Fremantle did the same thing with Mark Harvey. That has a little bit more meat in the bones, though, because Ross did get him to grannies and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I really agree with Clarko about that. I don't think he should have been... I mean, I don't see why he couldn't have kept coaching. He deserved to get another crack, so I'm glad he's getting a look in now.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, mate, the next one, it's from Kane, the Waffle King Corns. It was in relation to David King, the Waffle Prince, mentioning James Hurd's name in coaching chatter when Corn said, quote, "The game has passed James Hurd by." Is that wisdom or waffle?
Waffle. It's not that long ago. James Hurd is he's one of the more established football minds, I think. I mean, just look at his footballing career. The guy could read the game like the back of his hand. Complete waffle. Yeah. He knows the game, and it certainly hasn't passed him by. And I think when the time's right, he can have another crack. He's got my full support. I've always loved Hurdy.
Yeah, look, without trying to be too biased, Hurd's game plan was pretty close to the game plan we're trying now.
Yep.
Launch off half back, try and lock it in, that type of stuff. So I don't think he'd be too out of touch if he carried on coaching from that point till now.
Yeah, just a bit more sensationalism from those flogs. So, yep. This is from me, Bob. Wisdom or waffle? And I'm sure you're probably sick of hearing his name. Harley Bennell should get one more crack at senior level on a 1-year minimum rookie contract, as he is working really hard to get his body right, which obviously it keeps failing him, obviously. But his personal life is in a much better place, by all accounts, which is very important. And Ross Lyon couldn't speak higher of him as he departed Freo. Would he be a good fit at a strong cultured club, example Hawthorn or Geelong? Wisdom or waffle? Or maybe even a Sydney.
Okay,
just a good culture.
Well, would he be a good fit? A fit where? I mean, he's not going to be in anyone's best 22.
He's such a talent.
He was such a talent.
He still could be,
so,
mate.
In my personal opinion, I don't think anyone should offer him a 1-year rookie minimum. I think he should have to go back to the VFL.
Yep.
He's had enough chances. He needs to go play his trade in the VFL for 6 months. There will be another mid-season draft next year if he's truly committed and he's truly good enough. And then when he's interviewed at that time, he's fit and his body's held up. If he's good enough, take him then.
Yeah.
But do not take him on hopes and prayers because he has let everyone down.
Okay.
Some of that's not his
enough.
fault,
Yeah.
but some of it definitely is.
Look, I agree with you about 90% of what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, mate. The next one I've got for you is from Danny Frawley. This is a quote. "I've never seen a bigger fall from grace." That was said when discussing the Melbourne Demons season so far. Is that wisdom or waffle?
Oh, I'm going to say wisdom. It is a fall from grace. However...
The biggest?
Not the biggest, no. There's been plenty. Wayne Carey, Brendan Favola.
Oh, rough.
Yeah, a bit rough. But look, it'd be up there. Can they bounce? I mean, a lot of the chatter this week is... Chris Judd touched on the fact that he thinks they'll bounce back next year. Others don't. I'm in the camp where I hope they do. They have me rattled. I can't make up my mind. 17th is where they deserve to be after this year. So it is a massive fall from grace. But you obviously look like you've got some follow-up information here, Bob.
Well, when he said that, I actually just thought, I might just have a quick gaze
and
see what got thrown up by some other clubs in terms of a fall from grace.
Yep.
I don't know why I even had to look. Freo in 2015 were minor premiers.
Yeah, of course.
And in 2016, they finished 16th with 4 wins on 74%.
Well, there you have it. Yeah.
Might be a bigger fall from grace.
I forget they're in the competition. That's why I...
Yeah, it's funny. They've been up and then they've been right down. So,
Yep. No, fair enough. Great point. So, Wisdom, it is a fall from grace. Biggest ever. Waffle.
Yep.
Alrighty. I already know the answer to this, but, I'm just going to spill it. Our great man, the one we love most, Tim Wispy Watson on SEN 1116 this morning. Marcus Bontempelli is the best player in the competition. Wisdom or waffle?
Mate, I feel like you just wanted to reel this one out so you could bask in the glory of Markeith Belafonte's name.
No, it had to be mentioned because, I'll spill my beans after you spill yours. Wisdom or waffle?
Well, you know what the answer is. Yeah. It's waffle. Yeah. And you can be as one-eyed as you want, but he's clearly not the best player in the competition at the moment. A bloke named Jack Steele, who's not, a huge household name, did enough of a job on him to keep him quiet, and that was the difference between you winning and losing, as opposed to Shields going to Dangerfield and everyone going, wow, look at the job he did. Danger had 27, was almost the Cats' best still.
Yep.
So that's the difference
between
being a top 3 player in the competition and within the top 20. There is an echelon above where Bontempelli is, and he's not quite there yet.
Yeah, it told me Wisp hasn't watched much footy in Italy over the last month because Bont was good, very, very good just before he took off. But and he's been good since he's been gone. But look, I'm not biased, and I know what's right and wrong in this sort of area. He isn't the best. He's up there with the best, but he isn't the best. So it's that's waffle for me too. I have to say waffle.
Cool. All right, mate. I've got another one for you. This is from me. The AFL has been derelict in its duty to protect the future of the game by not mandating for all players to have a sufficient agate protection sack. They are jeopardizing the future of the game and humanity itself. I expect a serious Elon Musk engineered space agate basket, silk lined, well ventilated man egg holder. These are our future first round picks at stake. Pops Kelly and now Thommo. The AFL's got a lift. Wisdom or waffle? Yeah,
it's wisdom for both Geelong and North Melbourne. They've been absolutely 110% robbed of a possible father-son selection. Mate, hey. And father-daughter selection also. So that's a double wisdom for me. Absolute robbery. No protection whatsoever. They should be ashamed of themselves. Anyway, that's a really good one. That's the best of the season. This one's an interesting one. Wisdom or waffle? This is from the lips of former Melbourne star Sean Smith, who took mark of the millennium almost. This year's EJ Whitten game will be played in an AFLX format. This will be played on a rugby field at Amy Park. What an utter disgrace, AFL. EJ would be turning in his grave, and apparently they're giving players incentives to play. Really? Who needs incentives to play in a charity game? Wisdom or waffle, Bob?
Yeah, so I saw this late last night. That was a personal post on his Facebook.
It was, yeah.
Page. It got shared around various social media outlets. I did read it, but interestingly enough, the story came out today. It was actually Wispy Watson first thing on SEN this morning.
Oh, he's hot.
Broke the story about AFLX being dead and gone.
Yeah, rip.
Right, so I'm pretty sure that the AFL start to think that maybe Watto was a spin merchant for the AFL hierarchy. I doubt it. But that story came out the morning after that Smitty had posted that. So that might have had some legs, that story.
Yeah.
But the AFL went, oh dear, and squashed it immediately. So, I mean, obviously, if any semblance of that is true, that is a disgrace.
Yep.
So, wisdom, it is a disgrace.
Yep.
But yeah, it seems like either a little bit of fake news happened or the AFL backtracked faster than they've ever backtracked on anything and fixed it overnight. So,
the king of backtracking.
Yeah, either way, we can't have an AFL X-style EJ Whitten Legends game and people are not getting paid to play. You play for the memory and the love of one of the greatest people to ever be involved in our game.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
All right, mate, last one from me. It's from Wayne Carey. Sure, plenty of people have heard about this one. He said Jaden Stevenson shouldn't be sharing images of himself on holiday on social media while his team is losing games. Wisdom or waffle?
Wisdom. The Instagram posting is silly, immature. Look, he's 20 years old, I believe. So he's still learning. He's copped his whack. He's worked hard, by all accounts. He had a really tough 4-week training block. They've allowed him to go on holiday. Nothing wrong with taking a break. Nothing wrong with it. But the post 24 hours after, 24 to 48 hours after a terrible loss, seemingly enjoying himself very much by the pool with not a care in the world. Yeah, it's a bad look for him. But the holiday, he's allowed to have a break. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I agree with everything you just said.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's wisdom from the king. All right, I'm going to wrap this Wisdom or Waffle up with one more from the lips of the hairiest man alive, Gary Lyon. This is a quote from Gary Lyon. Wisdom or Waffle, Bob? I, Gary Lyon, have thought about it long and hard, and the only conclusion I can come up with is that last year for the Melbourne Football Club was an aberration, and they are nowhere near as good as the results would indicate last year, and maybe they're just not good at football. Deep breaths.
Well, I can agree with some parts
Yep.
of that. Obviously, they're good at football. They're an AFL team.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know,
Are
they're not rock bottom. They're not the Gold Coast Suns. So, I'm probably being a little bit too literal with some of that. I get the sentiment. It's wisdom. Last year, I never actually had belief in them. I was surprised they got to a prelim.
Yeah, prelim.
So,
Well, they showed up.
yeah, they showed up. That was about it. They laced the boots. Yeah, I was never fully committed to the idea. And here's the thing, I kind of have a tinge of that about Brisbane.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's once bitten, twice shy type of stuff with a team like Melbourne or Brisbane who catapult themselves up the top of the ladder so fast that you have to look at that core and go, do they have it? Now, I was saying about some of those Brisbane players, they've got the balance right. I'm convinced that they do. I was never convinced that Melbourne team had the balance right. I thought they just played out of their skins for like a couple of months.
Yep.
Which happens. That happens in footy.
We saw the Bulldogs do it. We saw Richmond do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
we saw West Coast do it.
And Hawthorn were a top team last year.
Yep.
And they will be fighting to make the 8, and it will be off the back of amazing form that they've had over the last few weeks.
Yep.
And having to beat number 1 on the ladder. So they might play out of their skins. They might get up there, and then they might slide back down again next year. It's really hard to know in this era of equalisation. But I'm going to say wisdom on that one from Gaz.
Beautiful. Well, that wraps up Wisdom or Waffle for this week, Bob. That was an absolute doozy. I thoroughly enjoy that, as I do every week. Can't wait for next week's. It's now time for Compare the Pair.
Compare the pair.
All right, each week during Compare the Pair, I give Jack 2 players, I reel off some of their stats, and then I pose a specific scenario-based question to him. This week, close to my heart, this one, so don't break it, champion, I'm going to give you Andy McGrath and Hugh McCluggage. Now, Andy McGrath was pick 1 and McCluggage was pick 3 in the 2016 draft. Both of them are critical 50 gamers for their clubs because they play well and above their experience. Neither have ever really missed many games since they've been drafted. The stalwarts in their team already. Obviously, they play slightly different positions, but we'll dive into some of the stats and have a little bit of a look. Hugh, to my amazement, only has +2 disposals per game. That breaks down as +3 kicks and +120 metres gained. McGrath does have a +5 disposal efficiency overall and a better kicking efficiency by 4%. Hugh wins the contested possessions by 2 per game, but the ground ball gathers are essentially the same.
Yeah.
The clearance work goes to McCluggage, obviously, because he's in the guts, by 2 per game, but McGrath wins the marking. McCluggage hasn't taken a contested mark all year. I found that stat interesting. Scoring-wise, McCluggage obviously thrusts himself into the forward arc, and McGrath doesn't very often, so it's 18 goals to 7 in Hugh's favour. McGrath wins the goal-kicking accuracy by a substantial amount, to be honest. Interestingly, score launches generated for their teams are essentially identical. In essence, McGrath is clearly the better defender, but McCluggage is the better inside mid. With all that said, if you had to redraft just those 2 players, factoring in what they're producing right now and the foreseeable future, would you swap them?
No. I think Esther made the right call with McGrath. Love what he's done so far in his career. It looks as though he's going to be a real leader of the club in the future. Not saying that McCluggage won't, but McGrath's been really good, and he came in at a pretty tough time still. Like, you guys were still trying to, pick up the pieces a bit.
Yep.
And you've been at the centre of a lot of heat and pressure and stuff, and he just continues to to tick along. McCluggage is an integral part of the resurgence of the Brisbane Lions this season, and he's been fantastic. But look, I wouldn't change that draft. Win-win for both clubs.
What if I added Tim Taranto as pick number 2?
Yeah.
If you added him into the mix...
Gee, that's a big...
It's a nice top 3, isn't it?
Top 3.
Yeah, one of the better top 3s in the last few years.
Yeah.
In terms of their ability to dive straight in and impact. Would you redraft Taranto as pick 1?
Yeah. Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it's probably fair on the output that we've seen.
Yeah.
Like he's in
based on output. Yeah.
He's in the better team.
Yep.
Obviously, Brisbane might end up having a better year this year, but
that's
overall,
made my decision a bit easier because he is in the better team.
Yeah, which is probably why you took him over your boy Dunkley.
Well, that's exactly why.
Yeah,
and
but
stop bringing it up.
No. It's just it's easy to get sucked in by predictions based on 2019, but I guess the recruiters have to draft these guys without seeing any of that stuff. Simpkin ends up being the bargain after the year that he's put in. He was pick 12.
Yeah.
He seems like an absolute bargain now. But perhaps at the start of the year, you would have left him there.
Yep.
So it's fascinating to have a look at those tight drafts.
Yeah.
I like it.
So go Taranto, McGrath, McCluggage. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair call. Yeah. All right, very nice, mate. Well, that was Compare the Pair. Now, it's time for Jack's Multi. Alrighty, mate. Well, last week we rolled with my multi for the first time ever in Fatside history.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it fell short on the second leg as well. I had either team under 24.5 in the Port Richmond game. Richmond ended up blowing them out a little bit more than that. It was 38. Yeah. It was only a 4-legger. That was the only one we lost, so I wasn't too far off.
Yes.
This week, just to make it a little bit interesting, we're going to give people the option of 2 multis.
Ooh, the battle of the multis.
Why don't you kick us off with your one?
Mine's quite conservative. Alrighty, guys, throw your house on it. Throw everything at it. Look, my multi is a 5-legger, and it all starts on Friday night. I've got Richmond at a head-to-head, paying $1.54 to beat the Pies. My second leg, Brisbane 1-24, paying $3.30 to defeat the Hawks down in Tassie. Tough ask. This one, high risk. Either team by 15 or less. Carlton versus Adelaide at the MCG. My fourth leg, I've got St Kilda 1-24, paying $3.50 against the D's. And my fifth leg to finish off the multi, GWS 1-39 at Adelaide Oval to defeat Port Adelaide, paying $2.20. Combine all that, you get $101.74. And if you power it up, you get $126. Gamble responsibly, ladies and gentlemen. Bob, what is your multi?
Maybe reserve the Macca's loose change for that one.
Yeah, a bit of a Hail Mary of sorts. I've just put $3 on it, so wish me luck, guys.
Look, if you guys actually want to throw a pineapple on something, I'll give you a slightly more conservative one. My first leg, I'm going to take Brisbane at a pick-your-own line of plus 10.5. I think they can keep that game pretty close against Hawthorn, if not win it. The next leg that I'm going to take, it's St Kilda head-to-head against Melbourne. They're only starting at $2.05 St Kilda, so it's tight. We'll see where the money goes at the end of the week, but I'm going to take St Kilda head-to-head. The next leg, I'm going to take Matty Crouch to get 30 disposals or more versus Carlton. They don't usually do a tag job, the Blue Baggers, so that's paying $1.45 this week. That is good money for Matty Crouch, who always gets his hands on it. The next one, Geelong, plus 25 against Sydney. I think they will respond, and I don't think Sydney are that good whatsoever. $2.50 you get for Geelong plus 25. The last leg, Essendon, for some reason, are $1.10. More disrespect. So I'm taking them at try bet of minus 24.5. That's paying $1.40. So that'll pump that up nicely. That gets me $15.10. If I power play, it's $17.80. Bang a 50 on it. Send me a 6-pack to say thank you. And as always, gamble responsibly.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. More people will lose money on Jack's multi, I'm sure. But Bob's multi is looking rather nice.
Oh, I hope so. All right, let's just check the tips before we go into the match preview. Well, 6 each. Year to date, mate, it's 100 to 103. Ooh. So we're not tracking too badly in terms of our overall performance. But yeah, you've still got to crawl that back. So be interesting to see if you roll the dice at all this weekend.
Yeah, I'll be doing that again this weekend, and I'll take the lead next week, so that'll be nice.
All right, game one, it's the Pies versus the Tigers at the G. Who do you like and why?
Richmond. No-brainer for me. I think they might actually smash the Pies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really do. Richmond by 5 goals.
Yeah, it's hard not to agree with you. The aerial prowess of the GWS forwards.
Yep.
Richmond have that too. In Rui and or Rewalt and Lynch. So I don't see how they're going to shut them down. They're probably lacking one key forward, but I'll take the Tigers by 4 goals in that one.
Richmond is starting to be, all of a sudden, that Geelong 30 points every week sort of thing, aren't they?
Yeah, it's very hard to ignore them at the moment.
Absolutely.
Next game of the round, it is the Hawks versus the Lions. I think this could be an absolute classic. It is down at the University of Tasmania, so the Hawks should have a home ground advantage down there. Who do you like in this one, mate?
I like the Brisbane Lions. This is possibly Luke Hodges' last outing down in Tassie, and he'll be too good. He'll have the last laugh. Brisbane will win for mine. Bob, who have you got?
I'm going to take the Lions.
Yep.
I think the Impey injury is pretty significant.
Yeah.
For them. Good ball user, can work between the arcs, and he's been creeping forward and kicking goals. That won't help them against a team like the Lions, who it seems like it's hard to stop them. Clarko may not be able to wave his magic wand over Chris Fagan the way he could do it over Chris Scott. So I think the coaching battle should be a little bit more even, and I think the Lions get that done. I'm going to say by 3 goals in the end.
Yep.
Next game is the Blue Baggers versus the Crows. It's at the G. Who do you like, mate?
I like Carlton. Adelaide have lost me. I've said it probably 3 or 4 times this pod, but I'm loving Carlton at the minute. I'm loving their fight. So I'm going to tip Carlton at the MCG. Adelaide don't play there very often. Yeah, so Carlton, why not? Probably my risk of the week. Bob, who have you got?
I'm going to take the Crows.
Yep.
Look, they're still a finals-like team when they're on.
Yeah.
At their best. It's been a while since we've seen their best, to be fair. But, I honestly, it's still 16th versus 8th, isn't it? So it's going to be a struggle for the Blue Baggers to get one over on them. They've got a well-rounded midfield. I watched them tear my team apart for a half, and we are playing great footy at the moment, so they might do some damage against Carlton, to be honest. I'm going to take the Crows by 6 goals in a response.
Okay.
Next game is the Eagles versus the Roos. It's over at Optus Stadium in Perth. Who do you like in this one, champ?
West Coast. West Coast will win. They'll keep ticking these games off. It's at home, too strong. However, North will make them earn it. North will go over there. Another tough road trip. They'll go over there and make them earn it for sure. They won't be any pushover. So, but the Eagles for me. Probably a 4 or 5 goal win in the end.
Mate, I'm going to take the Eagles too. They're rolling. Like I said, their win against Melbourne was not extremely convincing of a top 4 team. However, Melbourne did put up a pretty good fight. The Roos will do exactly the same thing, but 3 really tough weeks in a row it'll be now for North Melbourne. At some point, they're going to get a little bit fatigued.
Yeah.
They have to. It's been a long year already, and 3 tough outings in a row. I'll take the Eagles by, I'm going to call it close, so I'm going to say 10 points.
Nice.
In that one. Next, we have the Saints versus the D's at Marvel. Who do you like in this one, mate?
I like St Kilda in this one. I think Saints will win by about 3 goals. They'll just run off the momentum they took from last week's outing against the Dogs. And another good win to add to Ratton's coaching campaign, if you will. They'll defeat the D's for me. Who have you got, Bob?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints too. I think the matchup between Gawn and Rowan Marshall is pivotal.
Yeah.
Here's a truly emerging young ruckman.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Up against a properly established All-Australian ruckman. It's going to be a fantastic battle. That might decide it for me.
Yep.
I don't know if St Kilda's mids can cause the same damage against Melbourne's mids, especially if Oliver's still in touch. However, I like the spontaneity of St Kilda's forward line more than I like Melbourne's forward line whatsoever. So I think they could kick a half-decent score.
Nice.
There at Marvel. I'll take the Saints by 3 goals over the D. The next one is Port versus GWS at Adelaide Oval. Who have you got in this one, mate?
Find this kind of tough because we never really know which Port Adelaide we're going to see, but I'm going to tip the Giants. I think the Giants will, they smashed Collingwood last week, and I think they'll go over. I don't think they'll smash Port, but they'll win by about 4 or 5 goals for mine. So the Giants for me. Yeah,
Giants too for me. I think Port might be a little bit cooked.
Yep.
Those Port defenders are going to have an extremely tough time against those 3 talls. It's going to be extremely difficult. Almost a like for like in terms of the mid, the way Collingwood's mid set up and Port's mid set up. So I don't see why GWS can't win the midfield battle for a second week in a row. I'm going to take them to win by 30 points.
Nice.
Next one is your boys. They're facing the Dockers coming off a massive 1-point victory. It's at Marvel Stadium. Who do you have to win this one, mate?
They must. They have to. I won't be happy if they don't. They will beat Fremantle by 5 or 6 goals. They have to respond. There's still a finals chance. If they lose this weekend, I'll quit footy. No, we have to beat Fremantle at Marvel, and we will beat them at Marvel. Doggies for mine.
Yeah, I would think that you'd beat them at Marvel, although Freo's defence in the last couple of weeks has held together pretty well. Luke Ryan, Joel Hamling and stuff like that. And we saw what happened when St Kilda's defence did a bit of a number on some of your key players.
Yeah.
If you get another performance from Bailey Dale or someone else that can do that,
Tory
5
Dixon
goal.
still kicked 4 goals last week as well.
Well, yeah, that's...
Sam Lloyd's been serviceable every week.
That's very true, but I think that you guys will win, but I think Freo will keep it close. I'm going to say 15 points.
Okay, cool.
In that one. Next one is the Swannies and the Cats up at the SCG. Who are you taking in this one?
Geelong. Geelong will respond, as you touched on before. I think they'll win by about 6 goals. Yeah, Geelong for mine. Bob?
Couldn't agree more. I'm going to say a little bit of a response from the Cats. I'm going to say 44 points in this one.
Yep.
The Swans are no good, to be brutally honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, I've watched them play...
Well, they're worse at home. They are away.
And I really have watched them play a few weeks in a row now, and I'm not seeing much.
Yeah.
Not seeing much at all. They do still have some superstars.
Yeah.
And they've got some guys that contribute every single week. Isaac Heaney is a superstar.
Yeah, he's a gun.
That kid. But
How courageous is he too?
Yeah, it's great. His marking, contested marking. But it's not enough. He can't do it on his own. They're really missing some players around the fringes, which is where the Cats dominate. So I'm going to take him, in the 40s. Last game of the round, what a doozy. Suns versus the Bombers at Metricon Stadium.
I have Essendon winning this by 70 plus. You will go up there and destroy the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah, I said off the top, disrespect from the bookmakers last week to have us at, we were over $3 before that, just before that game started. The line for this game is 38.5 points. Ugh. So I know that we're going to probably rest Heppel. We still don't have Hurley. McKenna's off on his little Irish jaunt to go and smash Guinness tins at a wedding and do a jig whilst the rest of us play our trade.
Shillelagh.
But 38.5 points as a line is a little bit disrespectful.
Yeah.
We'll get well over the top of that. I'll be conservative though. The Bombers do have a tendency to take the foot off when they're not hunting anyone. So let's say 50 points for the Bombers. So that's pretty much it for this pod, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the fat side is up. It's going to be up on SoundCloud every week if you're sick of trying to use the YouTube app to watch it. However, you will still be able to find us here, as always, on YouTube every single week. We will be adding the pod onto Spotify, Google Podcasts to make accessibility a little bit nicer for you. And Jackie Boy, as always, will be firing away on the social media stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. Follow us on Instagram, The Fatside Podcast, for all match results, all the fallout from the weekend, running through the weekend and then through the week as well. You'll hear it all first at The Fatside. Yeah, Bob, it's been another really good show. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been good, mate, and good luck to the Bombers on the weekend. I'm sure you really don't need luck against the Gold Coast.
We're not your team, we don't need any luck.
Yeah, well, we need every bit of luck. But yeah, anyway, guys, good night.
And that is it.